Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Twitch stream for tonight. We're going to be trying something different. I'm Andro. That's Panda, if I'm pointing the right
Pandur.
way. Pandur right now. Yeah, over there. Okay, I pointed the right way. And on Monday, we released the latest update to Cables GL. It was a really big one. Huge amount of enhancements, fixes, features, quite a lot of new ops as well. So tonight we're going to try something new, and we're going to try and go through the highlights of the latest update. We're going to try and show you the things that we think are the coolest, how to find the results of the changelog, and the things that have come out of the update. And we're just going to actually try to talk a little bit about this, like we do at work, because sometimes one of us makes something new, and then we show it to the other one, and we have a discussion about it. And it's been such a hectic period with the update. There's a lot of new stuff in there that I've actually still got to discover that Pandur made. So um, the first thing I'd like to start with is that at the end of the Twitch stream, not right now, I'll be announcing the upcoming Cables Jam. And the Cables Jam is basically we give a theme. People have till a certain deadline to create a cables patch, and we judge what the best patches are, and they basically get cable swag, which will be things like T-shirts and other such goodies, which is all very exclusive and awesome and legendary. Like really, like the only problem is getting this stuff out right now with everything that's been going on. But we're working on it in case anybody there in the room goes, "Where's my T-shirt?" So at the end of the Twitch stream, I'll be announcing that, and tomorrow I'll be releasing a proper blog post and everything on the social media with the rest of the theme and like what the result, what the rules of that will be. Um, so basically, we're going to run through some of the stuff from the changelog. So first of all, I'm going to ask Panda if you can just open the changelog page, just
Yeah.
so people can see where it is.
So you can always find it um, when you hover in the menu and go to changelog, basically. Or you find it in the footer, but you can go here and then we see the changelog. And the changelog for us is like, so all the developers on KBSGL, they are collecting like all the stuff they do when they just update ops, write new ops, fix some bugs and stuff like this. We just collect this and we just, when we do the update, we compile this big list and you can always find it here. So when you scroll down all the way, you see like there's the updates from a year ago. So we just want to keep that list there so everything is visible basically.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so this is our latest update and I think it's the longest list yet.
I think it is.
Um, I think it's an awesome update. I mean, it's not so flashy as someone said on Twitter, which I found funny. But for me, it's a really important update because we fixed a lot of little annoying bugs and problems and UI stuff, and quite some cool enhancements to existing ops and all this kind of stuff. So it may not be super flashy, but I think it's a huge update for stability, performance, and like user interface in general.
Definitely. I think a thing that's important to highlight is, if we only keep on adding new stuff, but we don't fix things and optimize them, at one point, any program you're working on will become unusable. So, you might not notice the speed enhancements, for example, or optimizations immediately. But, when you're starting to work on bigger patches or to do more complicated stuff, we hope that the results of that will be clear. So we kind of break it down into a couple of categories here. We have the new ops. If you would click on one of the highlighted ops right now, it would take you to the op, obviously, as Tom's demonstrating here. So this is a really cool one that we're going to be, Tom's going to be giving us a demonstration with later. And then we have things which happen with the editor user interface, because there's a huge amount of ways that you can interact with cables, and they're all kind of nice and not tucked away, but you've got to figure them out. Enhancements and fixes. Sometimes ops need to get a new version for reasons that I don't want to go into on the stream. Yeah, website sometimes gets some updates. Like now we've added the Twitch stream into the main part of the landing page. We've updated the GitHub stuff for coding with cables for people that are using cables with their own web pages. There's some enhancements to the cable CLI. So we try now to just like structure this in a really understandable fashion. And as you can see, we've got some thumbnails down there at the bottom, and they're pretty much like the newer ops. We don't want to show you all the stuff that's got like a new version because that happens a lot, and then it would become just like really very noisy. So this is our way to give you a summary of the update that we've gone through. And one thing I want to point out is, in the last year we went through a really big renaming process with ops to make them easier to find. That's very important. If you can't find what it is that you've got in your head, then you're not going to be able to use it. So if you ever follow a tutorial or something like that and you go, hey, I can't find this op anymore, you just basically want to go to this page, do Control F, type in the name of the old op, and then you're going to find it and it will tell you it's been renamed to this. But we barely do any renaming right now. But of course, some of the tutorials we did, they were created before the renaming process took place. So yeah, as Pando said, this is where we've got everything from the update. And if you want to just find out what we've been up to, you can just go here. Maybe Tom can just show you that if you're on pretty much any page from Cables and you scroll down to the bottom, to the footer, because I always forget to click on it in the main bar, basically in the main menu. I always scroll to the bottom.
Um, yeah, here
So
it is. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and yeah. So so what we missed to say is that we just show you some stuff. If you have any questions about this, what we are currently showing, then just drop them in the chat. After after this whole part, we will probably do like a question and answer session, I guess. So if you have any other questions, you can ask them. We try to answer them if it's like if it's possible in the right amount of time, or if we
yeah,
can answer this on the spot. So let's just try to do this.
yeah, sure.
We are also figuring this whole Twitch thing out. It's like our second stream, so so if you have anything that could be better, if you have some ideas, then just tell us. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Should we just go through our list?
Yeah, sure. So what do you want to start with, Tom?
Yeah. Let's start with the text mesh, I would say.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So I'm totally prepared to do this.
You
So
got this.
so this is a new font rendering system for cables, which is pretty cool. So font rendering, if you know about real-time graphics, it's always hard, and there are like 1 million ways to do this, and all of those ways have like pro and cons. Mostly cons, I would say, most of the time. So there's no real good system that works for all cases. So we already have a few ops for this, like text mesh. We have this line font. We have the test texture, writes a texture creates a texture with text in there. And now we have this new one, which is called text mesh MSDF. So what does MSDF mean? So um, I go to our documentation page and I just click this link here. And this is the GitHub page from a guy who created this generator, this converter for MSDF. So MSDF means multi-channel signed distance field generator. So what does it mean? This creates like this funny image here. And this is super pixelated and stuff. But if you run it through this signed distance field algorithm, then you get this really sharp, clear edges character printed out. So that's the cool thing about this. Usually with textures, when you scale up the text really big, then you have like those usual texture artifacts like bad filtering, like the edges are pixelated or totally blurry, like he's showing here, like those guys here. So and this crazy algorithm, which is super small and easy in the end, um, solves that for us. So we have a texture that we can import into cables, and then we can use this texture to print the text on the screen. And so um, this guy, this is super interesting. This page, there's also a paper which started it. It's developed by Valve and all this kind of stuff. Super interesting. I just want to show you. Read this. It's really interesting. So so now we can do this in cables, and basically um, in cables you now have we can use this textures that this tool generates, and they look like this. They look in its own way super awesome, basically. And this texture contains like all the characters we want to use or we can use when we print this. The texture looks like this, and the algorithm uses this texture and make it look like normal text. So there's even this option which doesn't make any sense, but it's quite interesting to see. I can where did I hide it here? So I can switch this, and then you can see the part of the texture that is displayed there. Um, yeah, so we can use those textures to print text on the screen, and the cool thing is now that we can scale this up and make this really big, and you see it's still super sharp and no blurring or no pixelation or anything is happening, which is pretty cool. Um, yeah. And Mark, do you have any comments or
Yeah,
remarks?
so I mean, I think it'd be really interesting for people to know because I mean, I really like the technical explanation. But why did we? Why did you feel the need to develop this over our traditional font renderers like text mesh?
Yeah,
What are like the problems that this one solves? Because you kind of covered it in brief, but I think
yeah,
it'd be nice
okay.
for people to hear a bit
Let's
more
just
about
do
that.
this. When I create the text mesh here and I just use a lot of characters, and then I scale it up even more to make it visible on the screen, I guess, on the stream, I guess. Um, okay, too much.
I think you got to come down with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So there you see the artifacts that
yeah,
this
it becomes
produces.
blurry on the
Yeah.
edges.
And also this method, which is quite okay for most of the stuff, but the font kerning is also not great.
So what's font kerning, Panda?
Yeah, so the distance between the characters.
Right. Okay.
So this is like a science itself, basically.
Right. Okay.
And the MSDF font has like a database, like how the kerning is between the characters. This is not yet fully implemented, but it will be, and it's already working quite good.
Is the text mesh MSDF op slower or faster than our other font ops, or is it pretty much the same?
It's probably a bit slower, but it's really not. It's not real. It's the same, I would say. It's just
Okay.
a really simple shader, so I think it's not really slower.
So I'm looking at the op here because, by the way, everybody, I didn't get a chance to use this yet. Like I said, it's been pretty hectic, so I'm working on it a little bit. So we've got the array inputs that I see
Yeah,
there, Panda. So that's. Can you tell me more about that?
yeah. I would like to show the um, something else first.
Sure.
And then we go to the arrays. Okay.
Yeah.
So I talked about those textures, but there are no textures connected to this op. So we have another op where we define a font because it contains like two files, the texture and the data thing. And then in the text mesh MSDF, I can select this font via the drop down here. Um, so this is
That's
super
really
handy
cool.
because you often use the font like 20 times in your patch.
Yeah.
So you don't have to connect the texture all the time. So it's like a variable, or think of it like the CSS stuff.
Oh,
Um,
that's really cool.
so you define it once, and then you can reuse it at many places again, and then you can easily change the font type.
So for people that want to get started with this op and they would like to use a custom font, I mean, the fonts that I see there are like a mix between a font file and a texture. How would people create their own texture for
Yeah,
use with?
very very good question. Let me go here. Let me find a font file. So um, so this, for example. So I have a TrueType font here,
Okay.
and I just upload this TrueType font to Cables. Um, and um, uh, let me quickly clone this project,
Sure.
um, because this is the this is the example patch actually. So then we have no files, and we see exactly the file. So we have this TrueType font file here,
Right.
and I can now go down here, and you have this SDF font
Ah,
button. And when I click this, there will be some parameters later. So then it will generate this texture for you,
that's awesome.
um, which can take some time. Yeah, done. And now you see we have this texture file here. And this is the newer version. Like this contains all the European special characters and stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, and then you have those two files. And now I can go here and change this to this. And did I do it?
Yep. I think so.
Let me quickly read. Ah, no, all fine. I'm just nervous. So now I defined
All good.
it, and now it's called Gotham Medium. So now I have to change here. Yeah, this is a bug I just discovered. So now I can change it here to Gotham Medium, and there you see the new font basically.
Right. Okay. Ah, great.
Um, yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's
This,
brilliant that it's built in like that.
yeah. So you don't need to download this tool. It's just in there basically.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make a quick note. I think the docs need an explanation how to create your own texture for this from a font.
Yeah, right. Totally.
We're also making notes while we're doing this, everybody, just so you know. You're seeing it live and here first.
Yeah.
Okay.
So earlier you asked about the array inputs,
Yeah, sure.
and this is really cool. I think it's really cool feature because like many people ask us like, can we do like typographic animations or animating text,
Yeah,
which was super hard before, but now we have those array inputs, and we have one array output, and the array output basically gives me an array of positions.
right.
So every character's position is in here in
Oh,
this
wow.
array.
So you could just like you could use that array like with mesh instancer or another copy of
No,
this to align stuff.
actually you put it in again into the op. So I can just do something with it, and then I
Hmm.
feed it in back here. So
Okay.
so now I have the multiply, and then I can just multiply this,
Ah, right. Okay.
or I can say um, I can create.
I mean, I'm already imagining 9 million things I could do this because I love arrays. This is like really cool. Yeah, so you could use like an array unpack now, and you could like offset it with
Exactly.
random at y and everything. Yeah, wow, that's really great. That's amazing.
Yeah. So okay, what I wanted to show is so we have the interpolate arrays where you can animate between two arrays basically.
Yeah.
So I just take the array of this text here, and I create a random numbers array 3, so which
Hmm.
gives me also an array with just random numbers in there.
Yep.
And so I want this to be the same amount like the amount of characters I have. So
Yep.
now it's
It's got the
um,
same length.
yeah. So now I can put this back in here to the
Yeah.
positions,
This is great.
and then I can morph between them like this easily.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna make a tutorial or two about this. This is gonna be awesome.
Or you could just create a bool anim and switch between
Yeah.
those
Switch
two
between the state. You could put
states.
easing on this now, and then it would also. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, like this.
Yeah. I'm gonna be making some tutorials tomorrow.
Yeah, and you could just plug in any text and do this kind of stuff with it. And you can also um, numbers 3
So
can
hold it. Have we got rotation, position, and scale for each
ex-
letter basically?
exactly. Basically, it's like the mesh instance up internally,
Perfect.
so you can also rotate it
Wow, that is really sharp. That is
and
great.
do stuff with it.
Yeah, I'm sold. That's awesome. That's brilliant.
Um, yeah. So we are also figuring out what you can do with this op. Like it will probably change because we just figure out how to do stuff. So it's still work in progress, but I think it's really yeah, it's getting there basically.
Yeah, great solid beginning. I mean, I'd find it really difficult now to go back to text mesh because
Probably.
you can't animate every character in that. It's just using just the basic character. Whoa. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, there we go, people. Look at this. I sense at least two new demos coming out of this. Maybe you should have saved this for a demo, Panda, instead of bringing it out on the update.
yeah. We always wanted to do a typo demo.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was just a quick test. But yeah, we're
this
still
is
figuring it out, and I think it also could go great with interactive positioning of the characters, and
yeah,
yeah, I think there are 1 million possibilities.
yeah. I mean, you could do stuff like get the position array, do shuffle array free, and then use array interpolate, and you could just make all of the letters shuffle their position and then form a word. There's a huge amount of possibilities.
Yeah, yeah, or just
This,
um,
yeah,
yeah,
this is amazing.
um, yeah. This also, yeah.
Yeah,
You can also scale it, as you see. This is like the bad stuff you shouldn't do. Scale it differently on each axis, but yeah. Um,
Extrusion. Yeah, I think that's not
yeah,
going to happen for a
extrusion.
while.
that's the next thing. Yeah,
Yeah, just use a repeat op on the Z axis and put them really close to each other. That would work for now.
yeah. 3D text. Then you
No,
should you should
they all want extrusion now, Panda.
Yeah, yeah, I
Extrusion.
read it. Yeah, that's then like yeah, maybe one day, but this wouldn't work pixelated, and also with extrusion, we were thinking like what maybe the next way to write text is with meshes, with 3D meshes,
Hmm.
but it's just you really need a high polygon amount to do this kind of zooming stuff.
Yeah,
It's
that
really
it is.
crazy, and this is one texture which is like 512 by 512 is completely fine, which is way smaller, and yeah, I mean
Yeah, because normally, like the thing that you showed me before with the lorem ipsum cloud exploding, and you turned it like pretty far away from the camera with stuff like text mesh, it'd be like this kind of map effect where stuff would become really blurry,
yeah,
right, when it's not facing the camera straight, and this stuff just stays like pixel sharp. It's
yeah,
crazy. So it's awesome. I love it.
yeah, yeah.
Know what I'm doing tomorrow morning with a race? Oh yeah. Okay. Is there anything else? Tom, can you just click the op for a moment? Because I'm just curious if there's any parameters there that we missed.
Yeah, the shadow, maybe this is also um, something that comes for free with the assigned distance stuff.
Yeah.
So we can, like, this is just testing it out right now, but you could do stuff like outlines easily with the SDF algorithm. Where is it?
Up, 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 up. There's a checkbox. Down the touch.
There.
Down, down, down. No, down,
So
down. Stop. Yeah,
yeah.
there.
Um,
Wow.
so this looks crappy, but we will work on this. This can work. This can work really well. There needs to be like a multiplier option and stuff like this will change. So we can also add outlines and stuff like this. But yeah, this is like the first version, and yeah, this is already
Will it be
quite handy.
possible to add something later on that you can change the direction of the shadow, like at the bottom of the
Yeah,
letters and stuff like that?
totally. Yeah, this is just me testing this shader,
Sure.
basically.
Ah,
Yeah.
this looks great. And like you say, this is pretty much a free because it's part of the texture, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
it's sampling this algorithm again, but yeah, it's not that heavy for little things. You can do this. Yeah, yeah. Then
Okay.
there are the other options like texture, color, and mask. Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, legendary. I love it. Doc
So,
Retroid's asking, Panda, have you thought about super sampling, basically looking at the font 4 times with a slight subpixel shift?
yeah, I think I'm not sure, but I think that doesn't help much with MSDF. But I'm not sure. I can test it, but I really never had a problem with the precision, so that was always it's always fine. But it's a good idea to try this out. Doc
Hmm.
D, I think.
Doc Retroid.
There was another question. Can you switch the font out of variable fonts list with an algo? And is it as fast as switching images? Yes, it is totally. I can
Oh,
I?
that mean like if you could like plug in an integer and then change the font that's being used, right?
Yeah. Um, actually, I just hit the
Ah, that's
index
a shame.
the
That's a
index
shame.
thing because then
Yeah.
you could do it easily. Yeah, I will write this down and we will implement it. And then you can define like all your fonts. Like you can maybe there's even another possibility, but yeah, you can right now you could define them like this, like 20 fonts, and then you can cycle through them. That would be
Yeah.
no problem. Yeah, but
That'd
good
be really cool
idea.
with
Yeah.
really cool with VJ stuff or a demo even, that instead of having to use multiple groups of this op that you could just change this with an integer, that would make life a lot easier.
Yeah, totally. Actually, you can. Yeah, maybe we create another op where you can put in the texture and maybe also um, there are interesting ways to glitch this somehow and modify this texture in a creative way. So yeah, for a client project, we made some tests with this technology with with SVG files. So then you can load like really vector graphics without with a binary texture, which is also quite cool and interesting.
Well, you don't have to be great with typography. This op will take care of it for you.
Yeah, Uncle X, you will figure it out, I think.
Yeah, sure. Otherwise, just pop on the forums. We'll help out.
Um, yeah, I think that's the MSTF font.
Unless anyone's got any more questions before we move on. Um,
Papyrus is better than Comic Sans, I guess.
all right. I don't think there's any more questions about the MSDF op. Don't forget, if you want to find all this back and you forgot about it, just go to the change log. Yeah. Do you want to show Comic Sans, Tom? I think we should like do that on a different stream.
I don't have Windows. I don't have it, Mark. Sorry.
Ah,
It's
okay.
only
Then
from
then
Windows users. So
then I'm gonna do a stream soon with just Comic Sans everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe
yeah,
I can make the editor show all of the op names in Comic Sans as well, just for the full theme.
yeah, you can do that.
Oh boy. Okay, so that was the MSDF text mesh MSDF op. Um, what's one of the next ones that we've got? The floor grid
Yeah.
op. Tom, that was a new one that also came by.
Um,
So, do you want to explain this one?
um, like you can also do it if you want.
Yeah, sure. So, a lot of people that use something like cables, they work in 3D programs like Maya or Blender or something else like that. You can work on a model, and we're all kind of like used to this 3D view, right? Where you have like a grid, and you have like your colors of your directions shown with like red, green, blue, kind of like a gizmo. So we started encountering a lot where we can import a 3D model. Is it pointing the right way? And of course, we know that because we use the program. But for everybody else, maybe that's not so obvious and simple. So Panda came up with the floor grid op, which is just basically a great way to simulate what you've got in other 3D environments. If I'm correct, each unit there is a unit of one,
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
Panda? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a handy op when you are positioning stuff. Then you can measure the distances of stuff, and it's just handy. Um, yeah, actually, yeah. I
Didn't you
mean,
have this as a prototype where it was an option that you could turn on or off in the viewport first, Panda?
yeah, that was one idea, but it's not possible that easily, basically.
Right.
But maybe in the future we will do it. But um, yeah, right now it isn't. So right now it's just showing this grid, and you can measure stuff, and that's it. Maybe there will be other features in the future. I don't know. Like, so until now, I mean, who am I telling this? But until now, we have this grid op.
Yeah, and then a transform. I do it at least with a transform.
Yeah, we do this a lot, right? So
Yeah,
so we just thought like, okay, we need something better to measure stuff or distances just visually, just for debugging reasons, and this is why we
yeah.
created the floor grid. So yeah, it's yeah. Um,
Simple but really handy up.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
thing it's really good for is like giving you a reference with space because when things are just floating against an empty background, it can be kind of difficult to judge the distance between things or where they are in relation to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really handy up.
I just remembered something that's not on our list, but I think I should show this now because it just fits to this.
Sure.
Um, I hope. Um, Let me just try this. Yeah. So what we just said is like we wanted to have this in the user interface, but not yet, basically. So and we want to make the user interface easier for people to work at. You mentioned like classic programs do it a different way, and like every program is doing this in another way. But just like Cables is like a programming. It's more like a programming environment. So we cannot make this cube pickable right now because it could also be just a post-processed 3D scene, and we could not pick anymore or something like this. So we have some problems. So we want to keep Cables open to be really like, so everything would be possible. But on the other hand, we want to make it easier for people to just pick the cube or something. So we have this new mode basically. So you can click this button here now, and you can select show all transforms. And then you see this little button popping up. I will make it clearer. I will just add a sphere um, and transform this away. So now you see when I click this, those circles appear. So now I can click those circles, and then I'm going to the transform in the patch view. So it's super easy. Like imagine if you have like a huge patch Um, it's just super easy to find your stuff. So you have a lot of objects there, and then you just turn this on, and then you can switch back and forth between them, basically.
So, Panda, just a little question because that went a little bit fast. I was looking at something else. Where did you click to enable the option for this?
So this canvas menu here
Yeah,
got some new options that we can talk about late after that. So this
right.
has this toggle helper button now.
Yeah.
So I can click this and I can turn on
Ah, right.
and
Yep.
off
Okay.
multiple things.
Yep.
So for example, if you have a random cluster with the cubes like this. So when I click the random cluster, you see this. I don't know if you see it on the stream. You see this box here.
Yep.
So you see where like the range of the random cluster basically. So this kind of stuff we want to do more and want to do it better. So it's easier to see what you're actually doing. And yeah, you can also turn this on like all the time, so it's always there basically.
Yeah. So, just for everybody, normal the term we use is like helper meshes. I think, right, Panda?
Yeah, which is yeah. We use that word, but I guess it's not a good word. But yeah,
Let's just call them helpers. So helpers are just there to help you, like Panda just said. Random cluster has like a maximum bounding box around it, and sometimes when you're working in 3D, as you can see, you can really lose track of stuff. So we think these are a great addition to helping people figure out what's going on inside of their scene.
yeah,
That's really great stuff.
yeah. This is really helpful if you have a big patch.
And maybe a thing a lot of people don't know, Tom. Sorry, Panda. I'm going to say Panda. Tom.
It's Tom is fine, dude.
Tom can just grab hold of the gizmo there now and actually move the shape around in 3D space without having to move the transform. It's something I think a lot of people don't know. So this is really handy now. Imagine you'd have like 5 objects there and you'd want to move them around and you have these options enabled. You see
Yeah,
show all transforms. You can just click a circle, move it in relation to each other. And that's way more intuitive and faster than clicking on the transform up, moving the number. Now you can just grab the relevant axis and move stuff around. I think it's a great addition.
yeah, yeah. And people actually ask on the forum to disable this, so you can now disable all this stuff, and then it's just gone. So this new menu lets you do this kind of
Yep,
stuff.
great stuff.
And also maybe we just uh, show those two new buttons here now.
Yeah, sure. I think aspect would be a good one to start with.
Yeah. So what we a lot of times like you create something that's not responsive like websites or something. You just want to preview it in a screen ratio like 16 to 9, and you can now um, just click this menu and then you see it in the other aspect ratio, which was also like we wanted to do this for years, right? So now we finally have it.
Tom, would there be maybe a silly question? Would there be any point in people being able to input their own custom aspect ratio though? Just something
Maybe
that pops up.
we could do
And
so if you. I don't know. I just don't want to make the user interface too complicated. What you can
sure.
always do is you can we have this op. So if you want to create a website with a fixed aspect ratio, this menu doesn't help you really because this is just for the editor. So we have this op which is called force canvas size,
Yep.
and here you can set an aspect ratio. So here you also have a
Mm-hmm.
selection of aspect ratios, and you can just calculate your own aspect ratio and input it here.
Right.
Um, and then it forces the canvas to be exactly this size, which is so now I can just resize this and it always stays this aspect ratio, which is quite handy.
I mean, this is handy. I think. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom. This is handy for like when you want to look at how things would be like maybe on a mobile phone with a
Yeah, if
different
you want to
aspect ratio.
preview, yeah, totally. This, for example, 9 to 16 is like a common phone aspect ratio nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Tom, I'm just going to hit the brakes for a moment because I see one or two things here in the chat. The first one is, are you guys looking to other programs for inspiration?
Yeah, I guess so. Um, yeah, sure. But in this case, not really. I mean, I saw the menu of Cinema 4D that has those checkboxes. But yeah.
Okay. And somebody's asking here, could I get a lock aspect ratio checkbox? I think with that, maybe they mean that if you're going to move the screen, that it keeps the aspect ratio.
Yeah, for this I would use the force canvas size thing actually. I mean, maybe yeah, maybe we will put it in here too, but when you export it, then it maybe will be different. So I don't
Right.
know. Yeah, but we all always do this iterative. So if we start doing this right, I don't like I have like 1 million ideas that could be done with it, but we just want to start simple and then see how it goes
Sure.
and on how the people react
Hmm.
and then make it better and see what's the most important stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Um, does anybody else have any other questions about this before me and Tom move on? And please, by the way, don't forget if you pop over to the forums and if you use some of these new features and you think we're missing something or there could be something else added, please come over there and put it in the forums. We try and read all of this as much as possible and to answer everything as quickly as possible. And we read everything that everybody puts there, just so you know. Okay,
Yeah.
so sorry, go on, Tom.
The other button is this resolution thing,
Ah, yeah, right.
which is like it was clickable the whole time, but I think nobody figured this out.
Hmm.
It was just tucked away. So when you click this, you can just enter any resolution, any two numbers, and then you can set the resolution. But yeah, this is also the same. It's not locked. Um, yeah,
When I was just watching you do that right now, I thought it would be great to be able to click on size, type in two numbers, and then a number divider and another number so that you could type in the resolution and the aspect ratio in one go.
yeah. This is because you're a Max MSP user, right?
No, I'm a cables user.
You were, but yeah,
What?
yeah,
What?
yeah. We could do this, yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just looking at some notes and stuff, Tom, because we're kind of busy with the editor user interface right now. There was also this thing that you implemented with the J and K keys for search
Ah, yeah,
results.
yeah. So this is also like a super little thing, but for me this is quite handy because like we have those patches with 20 sub patches, client projects, big projects, and I'm switching between multiple ops back and forth, and they're in different sub patches. So um, usually I do this um, random cluster, and then I click there, and then I go there. Like this is how I
And just
navigate. So you can also do bookmarks when you click here.
Tom, can you just tell people how you opened that up with search?
Sorry. So when you press Command F or Control F, you open the search menu, and there I can search for random cluster, for example. Um, and when I click it, it goes to my random cluster ops. So cube. So for example, I have two cubes in the scene, so I can switch between them. And this is basically one way to navigate between ops
Hmm.
that you use. Another way would be so I have this sphere that I have to change a lot. Like often I go back to the sphere and change it. So I can use this little icon here and create a bookmark. So now when I click in the background, so no op is selected, you have this, you see the sphere here. So I also want to create a bookmark for the cube. So now you see the cube here. And now I can click this and I can go back and forth through my bookmarks. And this is another way how to like go back to ops that you used before,
Right.
which is super handy. But so I was still missing something because I don't know, like I don't want to bookmark the orbit controls because I'm just doing something with it today, but maybe I'm changing often. So you can now press the J and the K key and you can go back and forth through the latest ops that you used,
Right.
um, and go through them. So when I click main loop and floor grid, I can now press J and K and can cycle between them. Think of it like an Alt Tab mode for ops.
Yeah, because I think for the people that might be looking at this now and they see this smaller patch, I think what Thomas is trying to explain, sometimes you might be working on a really big patch, right? Like we're talking a couple of screens in size, and something you're changing, for example, on the top left part might be affecting something in the bottom right part.
Yeah.
Like Tom just said, these two things are interacting with each other. So you click on one, you edit it, you click on the other one, you edit it, and now instead of having to scroll or to bookmark it, you could press J and K and just jump back and forth between those two apps. That's kind of like another use for this, I think, if I'm getting that right, Tom.
Yeah, that's the use, yeah.
Right. Okay.
And so this list that we internally save, you can also access it here. So you can press recently used, and then
Aha.
you have a list of the ops that you clicked, like the last 70 or last 100 ops or something. So when I click floor grid or main loop, you see the list is automatically rearranging itself. So
Right.
this is like the database, like which ops you clicked, and you can access this also in the find menu, um, and click
Right.
recently used.
Oh, that's really cool.
It's quite handy to navigate if you have big patches and want to return to a place again.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've got to stress to everybody, you should really try and get the hang of using those bookmarks because I only started using them a while ago, but they're a real lifesaver when you've got, like, say, six parts of your patch that you're going to be working constantly back and forth between. Why would you scroll out and then look for it visually with your eyes? You can just bookmark it. Like Tom said, you just click not on an op, but somewhere in a patch. Your bookmarks appear there on the right hand side. You click it and then you go there. And this also works with sub patches as well. So that's a really handy system for navigating your way around a larger patch.
Yeah, also you can, if you click here, click the title of the thing, you can basically edit this title, which is now a bit um, not used so much anymore because we have the comments that you can put here. But
Yeah.
the title editing is super handy because you see this in the bookmark list here.
Yep,
So that also helps with navigating. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the buttons. Got the toggle transforms covered. JK. Um, yeah, I think the next one, just for a little bit of light entertainment, that'd be really good. Is maybe the YouTube player.
Okay. So now we screw the order totally. I screwed
Yeah,
it
just
up in the
just by one
beginning.
or two. I'm feeling it.
Yeah. Okay. YouTube player. So so this is also um, often asked in projects
Yes.
that we have that we should put a YouTube video over the patch or something. So there's an op now for this YouTube player, and it has this awesome.
The best video ever produced on the internet.
I don't know why I cannot click it. Funny. Okay, something is up. I don't know. Okay.
Probably got copyrighted and taken down, or you can stream it from your current location. Just imagine never gonna give you up, people. Why is this not working?
I think I know why. I think it's no. Okay, but it's worthless in this. So I will fix this. But it's the better way to show it is with the other op we wanted to show with the modal overlay. Um, because this makes it possible that you can click a button, for example, and then open a modal window with a YouTube
Here.
video in there. And there it works. I think
For
it's
St.
some
Martin.
HTML stuff.
Right.
And then you can close it again.
That video needs to be Rick Astley. Like that's just the wrong video, Tom. Sorry.
Okay, let's change it to the default one.
Yes, please.
Um, okay, not like this, obviously. Let me reload. Um, so yeah, the YouTube player. So we plugged it into this modal overlay. So we have this overlay created over our background. So in the background we still have our GL stuff, like this, like a 3D scene, and then you can open this and close this basically. So this is also super handy for if you want to show like a little description of your site or some little text. You can create a text layer basically, or like a button which opens some information, and you can just put in any HTML that you want in there. Basically, you could even put a whole HTML website in there and then open this and close it again. So super handy little thing that you can do crazy amount of stuff with it.
Okay.
Let me just.
I love the way that we got 16 people waiting for Rick Astley right now. I'm not to Rickroll.
Okay, let me YouTube player. This is the correct one.
Don't forget, everybody, you're learning incredibly valuable cables GL skills right now. How to get Rick in the YouTube player. There we go. I mean, isn't that one of the most beautiful things you've ever seen? Rick Astley running in Cables GL. I mean, I don't know if you can top this anymore, Tom. I think this is like one of the crowning achievements.
Yeah.
Everything that will ever be achieved. So why don't we hear anything now, by the way?
That's probably my system or something. I don't know.
Right. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to push for that. I was just curious.
I was hearing it. Yeah, that's strange. That should work. But yeah, that's the streaming system probably.
No worries. It all works right now. Let's not change it. Oh, everybody else heard it.
Ah, okay. Yeah, it's
I know,
not
I didn't
going
hear
over
it.
our conferencing thing probably.
No, I've got myself muted here. I hear myself back a few
Yeah.
seconds later on the Twitch stream.
Okay,
All
cool.
right. I'm great. Everybody heard Rick. Then I can sleep well tonight, and that's okay. So, all right, hold it back to the established order. So, Tom, we've got one of the new ops is the Lottie texture player.
Yeah.
So, because just in case anybody else there is saying, "Hey, what's Lottie?" I was asking Tom this a little while ago, so it's also going to be a crash course for me. So please ask any questions if you don't understand.
Yeah, so Lottie is a library developed by Airbnb actually, and this is a vector animation library basically, and so motion designer can create animations in After Effects, and you can use those animations on the web or in iOS or Android apps in a native way, and you can also load them in cables. And it's basically like a video format, I would say, but for vectors.
Right.
And it's just a handy thing to have, like if you have little user interface animations, you can import them and you can use them in cables now. And we use it for user interface stuff mainly. Yeah.
So would that be something like there's a little animation there, like showing somebody they could swipe up on a phone or something like that?
Yeah. Do I have it here? So yeah, this for example, we use this
Yeah,
in a
right.
project to like as a call to action to scroll a website.
Right.
So little animations like this, if the motion designer cannot use cables, which he or she should totally learn,
Totally
he can do it
agreed.
in After Effects and then import it in cables or in a website and use it there. So it's a handy little thing to display little animations because the video is quite crappy for this vector format stuff. So there's this format.
So I've got a little question, Tom. Just randomly popped up in my head. So, I mean, I don't know how a Lottie is made, right? I mean, but when I was just looking at the thing that you just had there with this circle, going up, leaving a trail and popping open, I was thinking like, oh, I could totally make that in cables, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, would it be possible to export something like this sequence of images from cables, convert that into a Lottie, and then put it back? Would there like be actually any benefit
No, no, you
to
cannot
doing
do
something
that.
like this? Okay,
This is like an animated SVG file basically.
right.
You
Okay. Ah,
cannot.
it's an SVG file.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not, but it's like an SVG file.
Right. Okay.
Um, there is no real animated vector format out there except like 3D file formats, but so they created this for 2D animations. And you can go to this website lottifiles.com and there you see like what people create with it.
Right.
There are some examples there.
So
Yeah,
basically, any of those examples there would just work with the Lottie player
yeah,
inside the cables.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Let me change this back. Yeah, so it's a really helpful thing for some
And
projects.
one other quick question there, Tom. If you would go back to browse for the Lottie, if you click Lottie texture player and then file,
What? Yeah.
if you go to the cables patch with the Lottie example, so if you click the Lottie texture player up and you click this, so I see there JSON files of Lotties. How do people? Is it automatically a JSON file that would come down from the format like from
Yeah, yeah. You
Airbnb?
you install. I don't know how to create it actually. You
Okay.
install a plugin to After Effects, and then it gives you this file. This is a JSON file,
Ah, right.
and then
Okay.
you can just
Okay.
upload it to cables and use it. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Um, yeah.
All right. Does anybody have any questions about the Lottie texture player?
Yeah.
Body.
Body moving is like the old name of this, or like I think the plugin is called Body Moving, and the player is called Lottie. Why I don't know why this is super confusing. But I think Lottie is now like the established name for them. It's a bit strange.
Okay. So
Yeah,
I think what would be really good to show right now, Tom, that you could even probably do in this patch, is a little thing for everybody, but I found this a really useful thing, is we've now got, so normally we've got variable ops where you can create a variable which is like a number or an object or a string. And now we've got this with textures. So
yeah, we
we've
can
got
do it here.
var set texture and var get texture, and I think we can just easily quickly show that in this patch. So
So
the reason, sorry, go on, Tom.
no, just talk.
So basically, to the people that are still new to cables, a variable is just a great way to be able to access data multiple times in a patch without having to draw. Like, say you've got a number and you want to use that number in 10 places. You don't want to draw a cable out 10 times to 10 different ops. You could just put this into a variable op and then get it basically anywhere in your patch. So we use textures all of the time inside the cables. So Tom made the set texture and get texture. And as you can see right there, he's got the set texture up, which is basically he creates a variable name. And then with the get texture up, he picks that texture name. And then there you go. You now you don't need to create cables between everything.
Yeah, so
Really handy.
yeah, if you like, this is also for big patches. It's just handy to write this thing in one place and use it at multiple places. Then you can use those variables. And actually, the reason why we created this varset texture, you could also use varset object, but then you don't have this nice preview, which is super handy. So we created this variable for textures too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I mean, I don't know if that's a good idea, but it'd be kind of powerful if you could change the variable texture on the op from the outside. You know, if you'd have like a bank of textures and you'd have an integer which could be plugged in there, like we've been doing lately with the mode stuff. You know?
Yeah, but I want those ops super clean. I mean, you could put it in an array and then use switch array texture
Yeah.
switcher. I think that
Right.
would be a better way.
Yeah. Sure.
Because like you don't know like the order of those variables in this list is quite undefined, I would say. So
Right.
um, it would be better in an array than you know the order of things basically.
Yeah. Okay. And by the way, everybody, this is kind of how it goes. Work ideas pop up, and then we discuss them, and yeah, some of them stick and some of them don't. So yeah, you're just getting an insight into how that goes for us. Okay, it was a little one, but I think it's a really handy thing, and I think we basically now got all of our data types covered in cables with getters and setters with variables, which is really cool. That's something we've been working a long time towards. So next up, the performance up, Tom.
Okay.
Performance. It's always a thing for a lot of people. Like, hey, my patch is slowing down. Why is this?
Yeah,
You've built a big patch. How do you figure out what it is? Um,
exactly. So yeah, we have this performance up for quite a while, but now we have uh,
to go back to the thing. Oh yeah. Oh, we can see it. It's okay.
yeah,
Maybe.
I can make it bigger even.
Oh yeah.
So I can make this bigger.
Oh
I
you.
I can
Okay.
now you can now scale it like this,
Wow.
and then you see every millisecond that went wrong. Um, no, so now this looks super strange, probably because I have OBS running. Because normally, because I'm streaming, I want to say, because
Yeah.
normally it's really different. It doesn't have those spikes there. I think that's probably the video streaming.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, now it's so the new version shows you a few more information. So first of all, we have those new colors, which are easier readable, and those yellow stuff here that you see is like the work amount that the graphics card does. So right now it looks the graphics card is doing more than the CPU, which is a bit misleading right now because this is normally this example is only for CPU.
Right.
So this is quite high, um, and when so this example shows a bit like this example here. I can switch them with my mouse key. So you see I'm switching between those examples. So when I go to this, it shows you this random cluster use a lot of CPU um, power actually. And
Right.
you see this is
Sorry, Tom.
growing.
Is that the kind of purple with the main loop? Is that the CPU part?
Exactly, yeah, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Um, yeah, so this is the CPU part. So everything is measured that is connected from the main loop and is executed in JavaScript. That's the purple part. So you can see this random cluster is quite slow. This is why we use instancing for this kind of stuff usually, but it's a good example to show. So when I just draw 10 cubes, you see it's just dropped, and when I draw 1,000 cubes, then you see the CPU stuff is just going up there, and when I draw 10,000, then you see even
Drop.
my FPS is dropping to
Yeah.
13 FPS. So this way you can find out, okay, random cluster is quite CPU intensive because I'm seeing those numbers. So the next example is the mesh instancer, which is, as you see, there's no CPU there. It's just super small, the CPU part.
Right.
But the GPU part is more, okay, something happened, but yeah, so the mesh instance is not even faster on the CPU, also faster on the GPU because we don't have so many draw calls. So we don't draw each cube on its own, but we just draw thousands of cubes on the graphics card.
At the same time.
Yeah, so you see it's faster on the CPU and also faster on the GPU. So always use mesh instancer if you have more than 20 objects or something. Um, yeah, then we have this on frame. This is a new color here. This is also CPU based stuff. This is basically all the CPU based stuff that is not connected to the main loop, which is something that
Right.
we couldn't measure before, and maybe it's also quite advanced for this talk now, but you have to be careful what you're doing outside of the main loop, basically. So this is just calculating an array of numbers. Basically, it's not showing anything, but it shows you, okay, this is happening here, and I'm disabling this when I switch to this example, for example, right? So when I don't do this, so this here disables this function. Sorry, there we are. So now you see this is active all the time.
Right.
And when I disconnect it, so it stays active, right? So, but I'm not using it, for example, in this frame.
Sure.
So you see, it's still taking a lot of time to
Yeah.
calculate. So I
Yeah.
added this op to just control what we are doing here. So
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
this is performance optimizing stuff. Just like the culprit is like, be aware what you're doing and just turn it off when you're not using it, like when you're not seeing it or
yeah.
when you not need it, basically.
Yeah, I think this is a really great addition because, like you just said, when you've got like four parts of your patch and you think that all of them are only going on at certain times when you want them to, this is the kind of thing that will help you figure out, like, oh, I've still got something running there that I missed.
Yeah, it's a great way to find out what you are doing. And another great thing is the profiler, but I will not go into this. And we have also an op for profiling GL draw calls actually. And yeah, this is always like this is the hardest part to find out why is something slow.
Sure.
And with the new GPU display and the on-frame CPU display, you can find out easier. But yeah,
Yeah. All right. Oh, really cool. Really great. Yeah, I love the way that this part of the patch is completely not messing up with the encoder.
is it
Yeah, it was.
this one probably, right?
Yeah, this one.
Um, yeah. Okay.
Somebody's asking about triple buffering.
It's a nice word.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. I'm not too sure what it means though.
Um, I also don't know what he means, like with Lottie, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know if this can do it. Could be
Just
worth a try.
just go to the forum. Like head us up there. You know, if it's cool, we'll read it down and we can check it out. Sorry, Zillow, I missed that one. Yes, a common design pattern to speed up shader work on the GPU.
Yeah, I mean you could do triple buffering with multiple render to textures. It would probably be possible. I think it's a concept. If you look at it that way, it's a concept that we don't um, build into the core of cables. You could do this with ops, or we could write new ops that do this for you. But this is like more advanced stuff that we don't want to put in main loop or something
Right.
like this, for example. I don't think we should go into detail with this right now.
Okay. Sure. Okay. So, let me see. Oh yeah, one of the last new ops that we had is hexagon noise. Noise, especially in textures, is always a really cool thing to have. So a while ago, I made this little guy. Basically, what you're looking at now is like I think four layers of noise. If Tom disconnects everything except the top one, then you can just see it in its most basic
Ah, yeah.
form.
Okay.
Can you just disconnect the bottom free, Tom?
I did.
So, yeah, so this is actually it's designed to work just like a lot of our other ops, like pixel noise. So as you can see, we're looping the noise values here so they don't jump. You can put it on RGB. Tom's got some sidebar elements there you can interact with, like RGB mode, animated. We can also flip the orientation of it. I just think it's a really nice op to have, basically, because pixels are cool, they're square, but it's also good to have some other forms that you can use. And I just felt it was something that was missing. So this is something that came out of I think, a Friday afternoon coding session, basically. And hopefully we'll see that get used in some new stuff. But I thought it was a pretty cool addition to the noise texture family right there.
Yeah, and this is basically mixing like three different scales
Yeah.
of it, right?
Yeah, and you have a huge amount of combinations, just like on normal texture ops. If you're using multiply in for add, subtract, there's a huge amount of things you could do with this, basically. So yeah, this is one of the other new ops that we came up with. Um, so another quick thing, I think Tom can just show that quickly, is we Simo now got the new Lambert material to work with mesh instancer, which is a really cool new feature.
Yeah, so we updated the example file.
Yeah. So it
Uh,
doesn't use matcap anymore.
the default camera angle is not good.
Ah, okay,
We'll change that later.
sure.
Yeah, so this was a bug that we had for a long time, that the light was not working correctly with a lot of instanced meshes.
Yep.
Yeah, and now it looks great.
Yeah.
Um,
We basically just want to make sure that all the materials work with the lighting system that's being built and mesh instancing. So it's just the same across all materials. But this is really great, and Simo delivered excellent work with this.
the undefined country boy.
Yeah, undefined country boy. Yeah, I keep on forgetting. It's just a name that's hard to say out loud into the microphone without bursting out laughing. So yeah, so basically, there's more options now with lights and materials and mesh and sensing, which is really great.
Yeah,
Um, so another thing that I'm looking at here is Tom. Is there was some stuff with HTML, like CSS assets, and exporting of files.
yeah, okay. Yeah, so another thing that we do that we did is um, and also for HTML stuff, and maybe I would just show how you create a div element, um, and you can give it a class, and I can create CSS. So there you see we created a div, which is basically an HTML element where you can put text in
Are we
and
not seeing it now because we're in front with the video feed, Tom? Is there anything there on
oh,
the screen yet?
yeah, you're right.
Can you just make the window a bit smaller?
Yeah,
Then I
yeah,
think
yeah.
it'll be clear. Just the canvas.
Ding.
You don't
There
have
it
to change
is.
the video.
Um,
There we go. Yeah, there's the div. Hello,
so
div.
so I was zooming in into me, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is our div element. So this is an HTML element. If you are a developer, then you probably know, unlike me, obviously. Then you know you can inspect this, and you see here this is our div HTML element, and you can look at it. So it's really above it's outside of the WebGL stuff. It's just overlaying the WebGL stuff there. And you can also write CSS for it. So I can just style this. So I can just write CSS stuff like this. And I can just save it and it will just be updated for this class. Um, so yeah, so this is quite handy, and we should also do a tutorial about this at one point.
Totally. I'm
Um,
working on it.
yeah, yeah, maybe we also do it together.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so what's possible now is so the problem always is that you can reference files in a CSS file, image files, for example, or SVG files, stuff like this, or fonts. And this was always a problem with cables. So we cannot. There's no easy way. There was no easy way to reference files that you uploaded. So now you can basically. Um, let me go to my files, and now you can just upload an image like you would upload a texture or something, and you can reference this in CSS.
Ah,
So you can set this image now as a background image, for example, um, and you can. So there is this variable asset path now here. So this gets replaced by cables. So it will insert the correct URL for this file.
okay.
So now I can say asset path / cat JPEG. And now it's using the cat as a background image. I just have to do this. Yeah. Then you see the cat, and you see the
Sure,
the
sure.
HTML background there. And and now you can when you export your patch, Cables doesn't really know that you use this file in the CSS stuff because it's not really referenced like in a texture. When you export a patch, you can select now includes assets all, and then this image will also get exported. We will probably change this to all.
By default.
Maybe I don't know. But yeah, so files that are not referenced directly in file input ports,
Mm-hmm.
you have to select include assets all, and then you can do this kind of stuff. Before that, and you still can do that. You could say like reference this file from your own server
Right.
like this. But this is just a handy way to have those assets all together in cables, and when you export it like this or over the command line, then yeah, it's just a handy way to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think this is really useful, especially for the people that are working on much bigger projects with a lot of different assets. To be honest, I don't think it's something you want to have to keep yourself too busy with. It's really nice if this is just taken care of for you. That's a really great feature.
Yeah. Any questions
Uh,
about that, or in maybe HTML in general? I mean, in cables in general.
are we going into general questions now, Tom?
No, I was just asking because the chat kind of stopped.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
But yeah. Um,
So, first question is: does anybody have any questions about this thing here that Tom was just showing with the CSS?
boring HTML stuff.
We're trying to keep it as short as possible. Okay, I'm always accounting for that delay with Twitch. No, I
Yeah.
don't think there was anything. Okay. Um, all right, they're still discussing the Lottie plugins. All right. So Simone Marin asks, how can I attach to other libraries OFR example toggle an animation in cable with scroll magic. Do you understand that, Tom? I'm not pulling it out of that question. I don't even know what scroll magic is.
Me neither.
Simone, could you clarify a little bit more? Four, okay.
Scroll Magic, JavaScript library.
I think the question is, how can you reference a library inside the cables?
Um, yeah, currently this is not possible. Um, if you if you tell us, it doesn't say what it does, but yeah, if you tell us, hey guys, I want to develop with cables and I have this awesome library, then we will probably put it in. But you cannot upload your own libraries right now to cables. We kind of have to moderate this currently. So you can tell us, and then we can help you and put it in there. But yeah, feel free to
Uh,
talk to us about this, and we will probably do it.
One thing I just want to say here, Simone, is I'm just looking at scroll magic and now I'm realizing what it does with the scroll wheel. Just want to point that out that in cables we've also got ops which enable you to get the scroll data from a mouse. And what I'm looking at there
Ah
at the
yeah,
top of that
okay.
animation, there's nothing there that you couldn't do with what we've already got inside of cables, basically. Especially with the new text mesh MSDF stuff that's Tom
Yeah, there's
implemented.
yeah. Exactly. So I don't know. Maybe I would just show mouse wheel. Also got an update in this. Got a new version in this update. Um, so probably this is what you're looking for. You can use this to play animations. So now I'm just scroll use the scroll wheel of my mouse and I can scroll down this animation here. You could also use this to trigger
Tom, can you
GL
just show the output of the mouse up, just so Simone can just see a little bit what's happening there?
Um, so this output is quite boring. This is basically this number. So I connected a delta sum, which just sums those numbers up, and you get like this here is my output, basically my final number. So when I scroll, this grows. And yeah, you can use this number as a time input for 3D animation, and then you can scroll through a 3D animation basically, and then
Yeah.
you could create this like those long scrolling pages in cables by yourself.
Yeah, Simone, if you check our YouTube channel, we got a. I'm thinking about it right now. The thing that I just saw at the Scroll Magic. If you would check out our map range op tutorial, it's a way to get like a long number range and kind of split it into sections that you can do different things with the numbers with. So basically, I think you're looking at mouse wheel, delta sum, and map range, and then you could just use it to just control anything in cables. So do what you basically saw there with Scroll Magic. Sure. If you've got more precise questions, just please head on over to the forums and just put them there. We're pretty quick with replying stuff. Thanks for the question. Um, I see here from, I don't even know how I'm going to pronounce that, We Machenbund. Oh, I have a question regarding the scroll demo. Did I say something really bad?
No, no, it's fine. It's yeah. Wir machen bunt is
Wir
the name.
Machenbund.
Wir machen
Okay.
bunt. Yeah. We make colors. Yeah, I saw it, Christian. I will answer it probably tomorrow or the day after, but I don't know. I didn't experience this yet, but I will look into this probably tomorrow or the day after. Yeah,
Oh, you want me to say it again? We are Machenbund. Okay, that's
exactly.
the best you're going to get off me. Um, okay, does anybody else have any other questions? This is your chance right now to ask anything cables related, anything you want to know. If you didn't make notes and questions up front, well, you're just gonna have to bring them to the next Twitch stream. This is way better to get a real time answer than to post them on the forums. Has anybody already tried to build a site only with cables? Tom,
Yeah, actually, we do this a lot. So you can go to our still outdated page, but we will update this very soon. You see um, those examples, and they are also websites. So I don't know. Let's open this again. So this is nice. Someone didn't pay the bill, I guess. Uh, okay, awesome. Um, okay, let me show another page.
I
This
hope
is
somebody
really
at
not
Chrome
working
sees this
anymore.
video. Yeah, I hope somebody at Chrome sees the Pouette's from the demo seen
No,
this.
it's the domain.
Ah,
Okay,
okay. The
yeah,
domain.
yeah. The
Oh,
the
no way.
certificate is outdated or something.
Right. Yeah, somebody didn't pay the bill then.
Yeah. Um, so this is or this, for example, this is a whole website experience. This is completely done in cables. Um, you can. I would just mute this. Yeah, so this is it's not really a web page, but it's like an experience that you can go through. This is completely done in cables. Um, there are a lot of examples here that you can look at
Yeah.
that are complete sites done with cables, and we will update this. We will update this even more.
Yeah.
There was a nice example today. Can you look in? Can you look in the general in Discord
Yeah, sure. 1 minute. Yeah. And is that the
from
plus X
Farum?
creative Barium? Yeah, that's the plus X creative
Ah,
partner
plus
one,
X.
right?
So this is
Yeah.
a website a Cables user did um, on its own, and I really like it. It's a bit slow from Europe, I think.
Yeah, he
Uh,
said that it's only being hosted in Korea, I think, so it's a bit slow.
so he did this background for this website. I don't think he did the whole website, but this background animation
Yeah.
in Cables, and yeah, it's
Really cool stuff.
yeah, really cool site. I need to explore it more, but yeah, I really like this animation. It's really cool, and I think it changes the shape after time. Yeah, yeah. So we will soon update this page, and then there are way more examples on here. What you can do, what people did with cables actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because Zillow asked, he says, actually still looking for a way on how to call a cables patch via a link without the cables GL dev environment to just present it after a login is done. And I think Steam answered with, you can just export the cables patch and embed it on your own server, if I'm correct.
What is the question?
Yeah, I think Zillow thinks that you can only access a cables patch via the cables environment. And I think he didn't understand that you can export it and then embed it inside of your own page.
Yeah. Let's just show it. So Ocello, you can from cables.
That's a bit unclear to me as well.
The screensaver thing. I remember. Yeah. I think um, you could just use like a web view and display cables patches in this, and just open this URL. I mean, when you go here and click here, open a new window, then you have really like a full screen view of the thing um, without the whole border and without the title. And this URL you could just use to display this kind of stuff. So actually, you just replace the P in here with the view, and then
Yep.
you see it full size. I think that was the question. Yeah.
Do you also get this if you say open a new window, Tom?
Yeah, that's the same link. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I hear you mean. Yeah, you can also no here. You open this one, and then you can click here, open a new window, and then you have it here.
Yeah, okay. Right. We're gonna have to wrap up the stream soon. Tom Laguba is doing this like. No, I'm kidding. That's the beauty of Twitch. You can watch it back later. All right. Good questions from everybody. Anybody else got any questions?
Maybe you do the announcement, and we see maybe someone has some more questions after that.
Okay, sure
Or
thing.
yeah,
So, the next Cables Jam. The next Cables Jam, we're really excited to announce. So, let me just grab my notes for a moment. Did I somehow wipe them out when I was cleaning up? I might have. Anyway, so we've got a new Cables Jam, and you're hearing it first on Twitch, and we're going to be announcing the actual competition tomorrow on the webpage and the standard social media channels. So last time we got a couple of really cool entries in, and we were really amazed by the results. There was a lot of creativity in there, and it was just really great to see what people came up with. So we're going to hold a new one, and the deadline will be, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Tom, on the 4th of May, 12 o'clock standard Central European time. So that'll give everybody about a week and a half to make a patch. So the theme of the patch is free colors, like free colors. So the only rule for the cables jam is that you have to use free color values. So that'll mean that you make like free color values with RGB or with hex code or whatever, and you can only use those free values in the patch basically for your color information, and who knows what else other information. I don't know. We'd like to be really surprised by what people come up with. So tomorrow that's going to be announced. I'm going to put the blog post out with the tag that you've got to give your cables patch for it to be eligible to take part in the competition. And basically, we can't wait to see everything that everybody will come up with. And now, because it's a week and a half and we're all basically in lockdown, I'm also looking forward to being able to create something. Though last time I checked, we can't partake in the cables jam and win, right, Tom?
we no, no.
Damn it. Okay. That's such a shame. So yeah, so
You can
that's
create a
going to be the
fake
new
user, and then you can
yeah.
take part in it.
Don't tell them; they'll find out. so, uh, so that's gonna be the new cables jam that's gonna be coming out, and it's something we want to try and do each month for a while and see how that goes because we really love seeing what people come up with. And who doesn't want a cables GL shirt and other various swag? Like really, I mean, come on, like it's going to be very exclusive. Um, so that's the announcement of the cables jam. I think we've covered pretty much everything now with the
And
highlights.
we want like the plan is that so the deadline is like 1 day before our next stream, right?
Oh yeah, right.
And so we try to we want to show them on the Twitch stream, and I just spontaneously thinking like maybe we can also like with the system that we have now with the video chat, we could also invite people if they want and say something about their patch. But let's just like that's just an idea that just came up, but maybe we
Yeah,
could do this. But yeah, let's just think about this. So we just want to figure out this Twitch stuff and show all the entries in the next Twitch stream basically.
yeah. So one last thing that I was wondering about, I asked it in the last Twitch stream that we did on a Tuesday night. That was kind of like, I don't know, copycat inspired session. Like here's some basic image. Let's do something with this. So we're brainstorming a little bit like what the possible things are that we can do with the stream because we're still trying everything out. So we did that, and now we're like doing this with the update, which will not happen too often because we don't bring an update out every week or every month a lot of the time. So I said in the last Twitch stream, I thought it'd be a really cool idea to build some VJ software from the ground up, which is something I'm really excited to do. We were also thinking it'd be great to do like a pre-selection of 2 or 3 possible copycats. And then just for the people that don't know us from YouTube, a copycat is where we get like an existing image or video and we do our best to copy that and recreate it in cables. If anybody has any other ideas right now with what they think would be really cool to see on the Twitch stream, we'd love to hear it. So rack your brain, and if you've got something, please type it in. And if you think any of those other options is a really cool one that you're interested in following, we'd love to hear that as well, because we're just figuring this out as we go along.
Yeah, totally. And if you have any questions, we still have some time.
Yeah, sure.
We can answer stuff like whatever comes up. We can do this.
Thanks, Suzanne.
Thanks.
I think for the next stream, I'm gonna like print out some emoji papers so I can like hold them in front of the camera instead of typing them in. I think that'll be way better. What's this?
This is
Marvin
Ronnie, by
Reitz
the way.
Clarence. Yeah, I noticed. It's German. Wir machen uns. Great show. Thanks. I just said that again just for you.
Okay. Yeah, if there are no other questions, then we can wrap it up. And
Sure.
we need more questions next time. We need some more stuff. Um,
Yeah.
Maybe also I did not prepare this, but we will go like watch this demo that I did with this guy Uncle X in the chat. We made like a real time animation in cables, and it's a huge thing. But maybe we can break it down and show some little parts of it,
Yeah.
some of the effects that we could do. Yeah, if you yes, it works again. Yeah.
Yes, it definitely works.
And yeah, we could do this. Or like if you guys have any animated GIFs from Tumblr or whatever, or from Instagram, and think like, oh, this could be possible in cables, or could this be possible in cables? Then just ask us. Just put it in the forum. There's a channel for copycat
Yeah.
uh, ideas, and please just drop them there, and then we will grab them, and probably in the next streams we will try to rebuild this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If you have any
With
other
no
ideas, just let us know. Yeah.
with no guarantee that we'll achieve it, but we're sure we'll all have a good time while we're trying to pull it off. All right, so the math up works again. Uncle X can sleep securely tonight, knowing this is good. Okay, I don't think there's going to be any more questions, Tom.
Yeah, I think so
I think
too.
that's kind of it.
So yeah,
All right. Well, I'd like to say personally, thanks to everybody that came in, followed us with starting up our Twitch stream and figuring out how this all works. Thanks for the feedback. Thanks for the questions. And most of all, thanks for following us and what we do. We really appreciate it. And it's really great to see what people are making with cables. I love it.
yeah. Thank you all for coming, and yeah, see you next time, I guess.
Yeah. All right.
Bye.
Good night, everyone. Bye.